The regulators, state regulators, are pushing back on this. They say that collecting this information is unnecessary. I'm just going to quote them here, ill-advised and burdensome. And they've claimed that this data call would threaten so-called existing efforts that insurers have made to mitigate the risks of climate change on policyholders. They're even saying that the FIO and the Biden administration is strong-arming insurers and regulators to adopt
the interest rates gradually enough to bring down inflation without slowing the economy. But economists generally agree that inflation has risen too high for the Fed to bring it down, without causing at least some hardship. And the Fed's rapid rate hikes will bring an end to the 2 years of rapid wage growth, record job openings, and remarkably low layoffs. The U.S. still added 315,000 jobs last month, and wages rose 5.2% over the past year. But economists do suspect that some job growth is going to be slow and the unemployment rate to rise as businesses feel the squeeze of higher interest rates. That means many more workers who have not yet gotten back under raises will not get one and may have few other unemployment options with better compensation. A round of relief checks are expected to be mailed and deposited to millions of people. These payments can be worth up to $270. The lawmakers have already announced new plans for their state, and they will provide residents an extra boost of money. So friends, more and more stimulus checks are going to be sent out. That's official. New York Governor Kathy Hochul and legislative leaders announced that a stimulus payment of about $270 will be sent to 1 million New Yorkers to combat inflation and improve the affordability. The New York Department of Finance and Taxation will soon begin directing financial assistance to New Yorkers. They who received the Empire State Child Credit or the Earned Income Credit on their tax returns. New Yorkers can expect to receive the checks by the end of October. The Hochul said, "With this relief package, we're making good on our commitment to helping hardworking people in New York through the nationwide affordability crisis. The program will put money back into the pockets of nearly 2 million New York families to make ends meet and face the crisis, inflation, and other rising costs." Hochul and members of his state approved the additional New York State Child and Earned Income Tax payment. The program provided an average payment of $270 a month. Eligible New Yorkers do not need to take any action to receive the checks. Checks will be mailed automatically. Early this year, Hochul accelerated the distribution of $2 billion in tax relief to more than 2 million New Yorkers through the new homeowner tax rebate credit. Hochul also announced a statewide gas and diesel tax holiday to provide New Yorkers relief at the pump as fuel prices have hit record high. According to state officials, New Yorkers who have recently moved should update their address with the Department of Taxation and Finance. To prevent delays in receiving your additional state checks, your additional state child and earned income tax payment check. Colorado is also mailing and doing their work with 700
likely to continue for quite a while. But as usual, it doesn't seem to concern Democrats one bit. The president
qualify for. Washington has a working families credit launch today. You can get that one too. In recent years, the effort has included changing the state's tax system to support the economic well-being. In 2021, analysis found that low-income people pay 17% of their taxes, while the middle-class people pay 11%, and the wealthiest pay just 3%. Programs like the Washington Working Families Tax Credit are riding this upside-down tax structure by making Washington tax less aggressive and more helpful to those that actually need the help, not to those that actually don't need the help. Plus, let's not forget about this. As many as 5,000 families in the county of Michigan have earned the Earned Income Tax Credit. This is a tax credit increase. The plan has been stated a priority for the Democratic-controlled legislature, and even the governor, that is since the start of the new political term last month, has approved it. If a family, for instance, is already eligible to receive the Earned Income Tax Credit, the state could tack up an extra 30%. Under the bill that passed in the Senate, if a family received $1,000 on their federal return via the Earned Income Tax Credit, they would ultimately receive another $300 on their state return to this. Federal Earned Income Tax Credit go as high as $6,000. Michigan already piggybacks off the federal tax credit and is one of the several states to do it, but it currently offers a 6% top-off, lagging behind the rate offered by most states. In a similar House version of the bill, that increase would be retroactive, so would apply for the 2022 tax season currently underway. So far, more than 70,000 Illinois residents claimed a federal earned income tax and help families with Americans struggling financially while they provided stimulus for a long time. And the maximum benefit of the credit was increased from $2,000 to $3,000 in 2021. That's for people 6 to 17 years old. And half of the credit was given in advance, plus in monthly payments to the families to help others throughout the year, and the other half was given as part of a household's tax refund. The household with pretty much no or low income was able to receive it for the first time. And though it can take years for the policy to have the tangible effects, the impact of the credit was pretty much very noticeable, very fast. And so I believe it's pretty much right for Joe Biden to send out another one. Don't you guys agree? Parents reported using the advance payments for household essentials like groceries, clothing, schools, and utilities. And despite worries from conservatives, researchers found no evidence that the policy discouraged people from going back to work. Instead, it probably motivated people to get back to work. The Center on Budget and Policy Priorities, everybody, said the success of the 2021 expansion showed us that child poverty rates are a policy choice, not inevitable. And Congress failed to renew the expansion in 2021, reverting the credit back to its former, less generous iteration. It's one of the reasons that families could see smaller tax refunds this year when they file their returns, because some tax credits have already implemented their own version of a child tax credit last year to make up for the difference. Still, without this expansion, everybody, millions of people fell back into poverty at the beginning of last year. It made many people broke, and it hurt so many households. But folks, here's a solution to this. One of the biggest sticking points is whether or not the expanded child tax credit has a work requirement attached to it. Because if it does, that could be beneficial to the ones that need it the most, and the ones that need stimulus fast. Opponents believe there should be some sort of work requirement, but everybody, here's what I'm saying about this. A ton of news about the fourth stimulus check, a ton of news about stimulus payments, a ton of news is here for you on stimulus checks. Joe Biden can do something about this. First of all, let's get into the most important news. It's that Social Security benefits, no matter what, play a major role for your retirement and for the older Americans especially. Now, there could be big changes on the horizon. Social Security is facing a shortfall that could be catastrophic, that is. The program is paying out more in benefits than it's receiving from taxes. If lawmakers don't find a solution soon, things could get nasty. There are several proposals on the table. Social Security benefits are funded primarily through payroll taxes. Workers pay into the program now, and the most of the money is paid out to retirees. So let's not forget about that right now, though. These taxes are not even enough to pay out benefits in full. Just to cover Social Security, it has been dipping into its trust funds.
We'll have to start thinking about, at least, the looming debt limit deadline. Democrats' message: political brinksmanship could drive up costs for ordinary households. A recent analysis by the center-left think tank Third Way estimated that an actual default
Back Better plan, passed by House Democrats last year. It's likely to center around measures to lower prescription prices and combat climate change, while also including other energy security programs sought by Manchin. It's also likely to include some tax increases that will be used to pay for new programs and reduce the deficit. Lawmakers also insist that for the new bill, including a new relief payment for Americans. Negotiations are also on health insurance. If you get your health insurance through the government health insurance marketplace, you may want to brace for higher premiums next year. Unless Congress takes action, everybody,